Gut, wir lieben, glaube ich, alle Hazel. Also, ich fand es jedenfalls unglaublich, wie sich jemand so...
Augustus!
Ja, ihr seid ja Mädchen. Ich fand es erstaunlich, wie man sich so reindenken kann in die Welt eines 16-jährigen Mädchens. Wie hast du dich denn als Hazel gefühlt in dieser Zeit? How did you feel as Hazel? How difficult was it to think into this world?
Not very difficult, weirdly, because I'm not sick and I'm not 16 and I'm not a girl. But her voice was very specific to me and it felt very clear to me and I didn't know if it was right. I didn't know if she sounded like she was 16 or she sounded like a girl or she sounded like she was sick. I didn't know any of that, but I knew that this voice was very strong to me and it felt like the right tone for the story to me, and so I just kind of stuck with it. And I never really had any trouble. I don't know if I pulled it off, but like other than my wife telling me that the clothes were all wrong, I just kind of stayed true to that voice that I had access to.
Er hat einfach diese Stimme von ihr gehört. Seine Frau hat ihm gesagt, er liegt daneben, was die Klamotten angeht. Aber ansonsten hat er sich ganz gut reindenken können in diese Welt von Hazel. Mir ist was aufgefallen, weil ich jetzt auch deine Bücher hier in Deutsch nochmal stehen sehe. Muss ich nochmal kurz holen. Also hier haben wir...
Füße.
Oh, die Füße.
Ja, bitte Erklärung für die es nicht, ihr seid ja Insider, aber vielleicht für die anderen mal. Wir haben hier ein Buch, Einige Alaska, sein erstes, hier Füße. Die erste Füße. Margos Spuren, Füße. Warum immer Füße und jetzt wie der Bruch?
No feet
Can you explain what happens here?
I have no idea. Saskia?
Who knows?
I don't know, maybe I don't know. I assume that Saskia's laughing. Like.
That's maybe what I think men are interested in.
Die Lektorin sagt gerade, sie glaubt, dass die Männer sich dafür interessieren, aber es sind ja vor allem Frauen, die das Buch offensichtlich kaufen.
I mean, I assume that it's to keep, to sort of keep a... they always want to keep, like, the brand, right? So they want there to be a connection between all the covers. So you're the
feet
one,
man.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, I gotta look for more books with feet on them. So now I guess they will have to redesign all these books and just make stars on all the covers, which is fine with me. I've always thought that it was funny. It's not just in German, by the way. If you count up all the countries, like there are 20 of my books have feet on the covers, and I've never written, as so far as I can remember, a word about feet until this book, which does not have feet on the cover.
Also er sagt sogar in anderen Ländern, es sind überall Füße drauf auf seinen Büchern. Also es gibt insgesamt 20 Buchausgaben von ihm, wo Füße vorne drauf sind. Und jetzt hat er das erste Mal über Füße geschrieben in diesem Buch und jetzt sind keine Füße vorne drauf. Your book is now out in several countries and languages. Have you got any reactions, for instance, from Iceland? It's out in Icelandic, right?
It's coming out. I don't think it's out yet. But since they only have 300,000 people, I don't expect like an overwhelming surge of Icelandic emails tumbling in to my inbox.
Although don't underestimate the Icelanders.
They love to read.
They love to read.
It's very dark. It's very dark, and I have been to Iceland, and their television programs are horrible.
Do they have television?
Yeah, they do, but because there are only 300,000 people in Iceland, everyone is on TV. All the people are TV stars, so 100% of people are on TV. These people are drunk, so we should...
This is our private TV here.
Yeah. So, but no, I Germany is by far the biggest.
I think they're just fans.
Okay, that's fine. Well, they can be fans, but they can't interrupt the reading. So.
Fragen aus dem Publikum zum Buch. Wir werden nachher noch über sein Leben reden. Also jetzt im Moment mal Fragen zum Buch, wenn es welche gibt. Vielleicht auch oben aus der Reiseabteilung. Wer hat was? Wer möchte? Oder kommt es jetzt zu plötzlich? Hier.
I was wondering, I was actually just thinking about that right now. is Augustus some kind of a phony? He uses the word grand a lot.
Yeah.
Like he's grand and everything he feels is grand. So I was just wondering because that was just the pop of mind.
Is Augustus a phony? Well, I think to start out the book, certainly he's very performative, right? Like he's very confident. He always knows the exact right thing to say. But this is not the way real people act. And in fact, like when he takes Hazel to the Funky Bones sculpture by Joop van Lieshout, he memorizes what he's going to say. Like he memorizes a monologue, and then when she interrupts it, he feels uncomfortable and has to like go back and repeat himself. I mean, he's so performative that like he's obviously spent a lot of time on this, and she likes that. She's very impressed by it, and of course it is very impressive when we know people like this. But this is not who they really are. This is not real heroism or real love between people. Real heroism, real love between people occurs in their weakness, in their frailty, in their vulnerability. And I wanted to try to capture, I guess, that journey toward him becoming a more authentic person.
Also er hat gerade erzählt, dass im Buch ja die eine Szene auftaucht, wo sie bei dieser Skulptur sind und er ihr in einem Monolog, in einem auswendig gelernten Monolog etwas mitteilt und im Lauf des Buches verändert sich sein Charakter, weil er eben seine Schwäche auch zulässt und sie nicht mehr vorher alles einstudiert. Andere Fragen? Da hinten.
Excuse me, in your monologue, your author's note, you say that that made-up stories can matter is somewhat of a foundational assumption of our species. How so?
Yeah, good question. I say.
Can you repeat it, please?
Yeah, I say in the author's note that the idea that made-up stories can matter is one of the I think I say sort of. I think I have some kind of qualifier there. Yeah. Sort of the foundational assumption of our species. So I think the fact of human consciousness, this crazy thing that we have that so far, at least as we can tell, no other creature in the history of the universe has ever experienced, this ability to marvel at ourselves, to use complex language, to communicate complex ideas, the ability to fathom the stars, as Walt Whitman once wrote. That ability is unique to us, and I think that ability is also wrapped up in our ability to make believe, our ability to imagine, our ability to come up with stories that aren't real but still feel real. I think that's one of the things that make us human. And I feel like that idea is a little bit attacked these days by reality television and the whole rise of non-fictionality. The idea that everything can be based on a true story. I just saw a horror movie in which a young woman's head comes out of her body and her bare spine is showing, and then it turns around in 720 degrees and then it goes back onto her neck. And this film was billed as being based on a true story. And I have not seen the news reports about this event. It surprised me because it seems...
You should watch more Icelandic TV.
Yeah, so I think created stories, made-up stories, imagined stories, fictional stories are very important. And they're a big part of what make us us. And we shouldn't denigrate stories just because they're made up.
Also er hat nochmal sich dafür ausgesprochen, für die Idee, die eigentlich den Menschen auch zum Menschen macht, dass erfundene Geschichten Bedeutung haben und dass nicht alles, was man irgendwie darstellt und schreibt, schon mal passiert sein muss, wie diese Horrorgeschichte, die wahrscheinlich auch nicht wahr ist.